everybody, welcome back to my movie review series. Today we'll be discussing the Equalizer 2 movie review. So obviously just recorded the movie review for the first one. Like I said, I thought it'd be a little weird to do just the Equalizer 2, but it was the only one on Hulu. So this one again is hosted on Hulu, at least at the current time. Not sure if anyone's ever going to watch these, if ever, but it's currently on Hulu as of March 10th. It is my half birthday. Sick. I'm definitely going to reach 30. I'm going for 1,000 YouTube videos before 100 subscribers. I think I'll do it easily, honestly. But, so I'll give you the Equalizer 2 overview. And so, if you have, make sure it's the right one, yeah. If you have a problem and there is nowhere else to turn, the mysterious and elusive Robert McCall will deliver the vigilante justice you seek. This time, however, McCall's past cuts especially close to home when thugs kill Susan Plummer, his best friend and former colleague. Now out for revenge, McCall must take on a crew of highly trained assassins who stop at nothing to destroy him. So obviously, that's literally just the overview by the producers or the writers. 50% on Metacritic, 52% on Rotten Tomatoes, 77% liked it on Google, and 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb. So that's my overall impressions. I like the first one a little better. I still thoroughly enjoyed this one. And again, this is another movie I've seen multiple times, not for a while though. We have Pedro Pascal who pops up in this one, which again I don't think there's probably a bigger actor at the current moment. But the same director, Antoine Fuqua probably. But yeah, so same type of thing, an action thriller. I just thought the action sequence or plot development was I just enjoyed the first one a little better. But it's still well done, still produced well, decent plot development, not super unique script by any means, just a CIA bad guy, shoot 'em up action movie. I enjoyed it. So I'm going to give this one a B+. Slightly lower than the ranking of the first one. I just thought the bad guys or the Russian people were a little more interesting than the getting cutting close to home. I forgot to say, what was his name? Yeah, I guess now we have Robert McCall. So if you've not seen, again, I'm assuming if you're watching this review, you've seen the movie, or at least seen the first one. But if you've not seen the movie, you're going to want to shut off the video now, because there will be spoiler alerts and plot development. Yeah, not much character development throughout the movie, just shoot 'em up bad guys. A little character development in this one. Like in the last one was just the bad guys versus the vigilante. Now you have some sort of character development through the Pedro Pascal's character. But this one starts off because Robert McCall is no more dealing with the Russians because he killed the Vladimir Pushkin in Soviet Russia. We translate Russian into Russian for non-native speaker. But seriously, you can go into the Russian dictionary and look up words in Russian, and it will just give you another Russian fucking word. And you'll go to that word, and it'll give you another Russian fucking word. So I actually was thoroughly laughing at one of my derivation sessions the other night of just looking up Russian words in a bilingual dictionary, going from Russian to English. You go from the Russian to English, and it just says another Russian word. I thought that was like richly fucking hilarious. That was my Russian accent saying that we define Russian in Russian for non-native speakers. Obviously, it wouldn't do too much help. But regardless, we're not dealing with the Russians this one. We open up, Robert is on a train in Turkey, and he basically just does the same type of thing where it's like, oh, I'm going to go into the bad guy's room, and then the bad guys are going to easily kill me, and then I'm going to take them all down. So that happens. He goes in there, he speaks some Turkish, but kills like 3 or 4 Turkish people, but basically this guy is just, he's stolen a daughter from a mother, and Robert is just out there again doing random acts of vigilante justice before like the main plot of the movie is picked up. So that is the opening scene. And I remember thoroughly enjoying watching that one, like that scene to open up the movie. But then after that we have Susan Plummer, who was in the intro, said that she gets killed. So what happens is, basically there's this, you see this French couple. I think it's either French. I think they're French, but in Belgium. The dude is certainly speaking French, but they're in Belgium, Brussels, and this French couple gets killed. You see a hit squad. The wife has already been beaten up a little bit. They execute her right in front of the husband, and then they make the husband, look like he kills himself. But you do get an American accent from the guys that are doing the hits. So you're in Brussels, seems like a French family, and then you get the accent, the American accent, knowing that it's the hitman, or at least one of them is an American. And so that happens. Susan Plummer, who's kind of like, she's like, Robert McCall is supposed to be dead. Again, he's faked his own death. I think even prior to the first one, I'm not exactly sure if that was a plot development between the first and the second one, or if he was, I'd imagine had faked his death prior to the first movie as well. But regardless, Susan Plummer, and I'm not sure if it's so Pedro Pascal plays Dave York. I'm not exactly sure if that's who goes with her to Brussels, but regardless, she goes with another CIA colleague or person. And they go to investigate this killing of this French family. They investigate a little bit, and then they go back to their hotel. When they go back to their hotel, there's these Belgian backpackers. I just put Belgian scapegoats. But basically, they get into this elevator. The male colleague of Susan gets off at a different floor. Susan goes up to the 16th floor, gets off, and as she's going into her room, two people rob her, but it's really a hit squad. And so basically, these two people rob her. You don't really see her killed. There's a struggle scene. She stabs and slices him a little bit with whatever object she has around her, but you don't really see that she's directly dead in that exact scene. Very quickly, the next couple scenes, her husband Brian Plummer had written a book, and so Brian calls Robert, and Robert's like, "Hey man, I'm just reading your book now." And so Robert is now living in an apartment complex. He's got a neighbor, Fatima, who's running a garden. I don't know, some Afghanistan, Turkey, probably not Turkey, but Afghanistan, Iraq type of area. I don't know, lady in her 40s. She has a garden just in the courtyard of this rather urban apartment complex. And so you have Miles Whitaker, yeah, I believe so. But this neighborhood dude might be getting mixed up in some drugs, but he's doing some painting. And so pretty quickly on, Robert, there's someone vandalizes, destroys Fatima's garden, and spray paints this wall. And so Robert McCall's out there scrubbing it down, painting it. Miles Whitaker, the local neighborhood kid, again, I don't know, he's probably 17 to 19 is probably his age range. But he's Robert's hand cleaning off the the graffiti, and Miles is the city should do that, the apartment complex should do that, and he's like, well, nobody's doing that. And so then Miles offers Robert $350 to do it, and then he's like, no, that's too much. And the next day Miles is like, I'll do it for $250. So this one's kind of in the same way he took the prostitute escort girl under his wing. In the last one, he's got another bird under his wing with Miles, and so he's like, go to school. Here's a book. Read this book. But you can work on the wall every day after three after you get out of school. And so that's kind of a side plot. When that's going on, Robert gets the call from Brian Plummer that Susan has been killed. And so you have a wake or a funeral scene just at their house, and then Brian Plummer is Robert takes him to safety as well, because the hit squad's coming after him, would be coming after him as well. Robert does some more super nuanced detective work where he realizes again the robbery wasn't really a robbery. Where she was stabbed was pretty technical or surgical. But very quickly after that, there is a bomb blows up. You see the tweakers, they're kind of just Belgian scapegoats, just not real career criminals or enforcers or whatever, but they're just getting loaded on drugs, and they get blown up. So they get bombed, and you see another dude with a big beard, you're not sure if it's an American or not, but walking away. And so Robert puts together that they're tying up loose ends, and right around this time, Robert reconnects with his old partner, or I guess it was his team. I guess he was a CIA enforcer who just killed people, contract killing, but he was the team lead. And so his old partner, or subordinate Dave York, Pedro Pascal, he catches back up with him in Washington, D.C. area, just running around like the FBI or all the government areas. And so, because Dave thinks that Robert was dead because he faked his own death. And so they reconnect, and then rather quickly, again, after David puts Robert, so then a dude, Robert in this one is last one he was a warehouse worker, this one he's a Lyft driver. So, and that's, in the very beginning, there is a scene where a girl overdoses, or has to get her stomach pumped at the hospital, so these rich bankers, investment bankers, whatever, get some intern into the Lyft, and they don't pay him. Robert goes back, and he's like, yeah, well, the girl had to go to the hospital to get her stomach pumped, and then he had another pretty brutal fight scene, slices them up, dices them up. I don't think it kills any of them, but just wounds them all. But a pretty graphic, violent scene, or whatever. Not super graphic, but I forgot that was in there. Regardless, he's now putting together that he's kind of working with Dave York about let's figure out what's going on here. One of his Lyft passengers tries to kill him. Robert neutralizes that threat, takes his cell phone off of him, and then goes to Dave York's house. You meet his wife Carol York and his 2 daughters, and it's like you can tell Robert's about to confront Dave, and so he's like, I got this phone off of the guy that was sent to kill me, and he called this number. Let's give this call a ring. Rings it on up, and it's Dave's phone that rings. And so Robert and Dave have a leveling moment where the stick is up. Robert and Dave both know that Dave tried to kill Robert and has been tying up loose ends, killed Susan, and Robert and Susan were good friends. And so it's not Dave York and his crew is Kovac, Resnick, and there's one other one, but it's not really sure. They're just doing private hits now. So it's not really sure. I don't know why Susan. Well, they killed Susan because I guess they all know each other, and Susan would be able to put the pieces together of what's going on with the death of the French family in Belgium. And so now you have clear development of the characterizations where it's Robert on one team and these other people on the other team both trying to kill each other, both trained assassins. They used to work with each other. And so kind of a funny scene when Robert McCall, when he calls them out, he calls Dave out, and Dave's like, it's not just me, it's the whole old crew. They're kind of out in a nice suburban neighborhood, but out-side this cul-de-sac area, and Carol York is getting the daughters to go, and she's thinking it's they're catching up old pals, and they're all literally sitting there telling they're going to kill each other. And so Robert's like, hey, do you want me to help take your kids? And Carol's like, yeah, help and advice or something, sure. And then Robert's like, oh, looks like I like helping people, and then kind of gives them the air guns, which I thought that was a genuinely funny scene. But regardless, for the plot development now, it's just on to hunt and kill each other. And so Robert leaves there, and then the next kind of scene you get is Miles Whitaker, who again, well, I guess I skipped another scene where Miles, his brother had been killed. It's not part of the movie. You just get a line of the context. And Robert tracks Miles. He sees him getting into with gangbangers, and this local gang banging crew. They go into the high rises, the trap houses, and they're Miles is lining up to go kill somebody of this rival gang that was responsible for killing his brother. And so this local crew or whatever is hyping him up. Robert McCall, the big CIA dude, busts in, guns drawn, gets Miles out of there. Then puts a gun to Miles' head. It was are you a real killer? And then gives Miles the gun, puts it to his head. He's like, oh, are you real killer? And then takes the gun back and put it to his head. And Miles is like, do you know where we are? Robert's like, yeah, we know where we're at. Because again, Robert's this mysterious dude. All these just neighborhood people don't know he's this super CIA guy. And so they leave out of there, and they become friends, or they've been kind of friends. But Robert allows Miles to paint the interior of his apartment. And so once it's clear that the CIA team is split and the private hit team is just trying to kill Robert and Robert's trying to kill the private hit team, Miles is now in the crossfire. So they come, I think it's Resnick and Kovac, they come, or I think Dave York is in that one too. Whatever, the two of the 4 dudes go to Robert's apartment where Miles has his headphones in and painting. So by the time you realize what's happening, it's too late to get out of the apartment. And so Robert walks up through this little safe house where he just pushes a button under a bookcase and he moves a book, presses a button, and has this little safe room. So he goes in there, kind of a tense scene. You kind of, as the viewer, you kind of expect Miles to get caught, and so like he's behind this glass, and Pedro or Dave York like fogs up the glass and puts like a smiley face, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill you." Then Robert calls him and he's like, "I'm not home. It's not me." And so they leave the apartment, and right after Miles gets out of the bookcase, and so you think he's gonna get abducted. He does, and so Dave York and one of his other crew members was just standing outside the apartment, and Dave York was still in the apartment. So you don't really see anything past that, but they end up kidnapping Miles and putting him in the trunk. And so at this time, they realize Robert is going back to his he lives in an apartment, but he's got a house on this island. Not exactly sure that it's New York or where in the world they are. It's certainly in America somewhere for the most part of this one. But somewhere maybe Maine, because it's just this island town where they've shut down the island. There's a big storm, so it's the 40-minute fight scene towards at the end of the movie is this big storm around it. But regardless, Robert goes back to his actual house, or again where his wife was, or some reminiscence about his wife. And then the hit squad, Dave York realizes that's where he's going, and so they go. And so it's not an abandoned place, but it's evacuated because there's a big storm going on, and then they just have a kill and fight scene. So first, Robert McCall, again, it's a 4 versus 1. First dude, he kills Kovac. He hits him with a harpoon in this shed thing. He blows up one dude, and he's disemboweled. So I think that's Resnick. I think Resnick gets sliced up. I don't have the 4th dude up here. But one dude gets disemboweled. One dude gets hit with a harpoon. One dude just gets sliced and diced, Achilles cut, throat cut, jugular's cut, whatever big artery in your femoral artery cut. So those dudes are dead. And then it's basically Robert versus Dave at the end. And so they're shooting, and Dave, again, it's a very rainy fight scene. And so Dave is the sniper. He goes up on this light tower, just overview looking building thing. And so Robert, this is a drawn out fight scene, but Robert basically somehow gets up onto the platform, throws a rope or something, and pulls him back, but knocks Dave down for a little bit, but then gets up onto this platform, or it's literally a platform, not a lighthouse, but a viewing building type of thing. And so it's I don't know, 10 by 10 feet square cement thing with this guardrails. So it's a dueling arena type of thing. It's not designed for a dueling arena, but I'm just trying to give you the visual of where they're at in this setting. But they're up, I don't know, 4 stories, 5 stories on this metal viewing platform, or cement viewing platform thing for the ocean. And so he throws this cable, pulls him back to hit the guardrails, but then gets up on the platform with them. They fight it out a little bit. He slices him up real good, cuts his throat, and kicks him off the thing, falls down onto the rocks, onto the bluffs, and is now dead. So, Robert McCall did his vigilante thing, killed them all. Also throughout the video, or the movie, he's friends with an older gentleman, a Jewish guy, Sam Rubenstein, and he's basically trying to find this painting, or at least find his sister, who again, because of his old age, this dude's, 85, 90. And so it's Robert's just his friend, again, he's made friends from driving him to the print shop or whatever, from his assisted living facility. But Robert, before Susan had died, Robert had asked her to look into the CIA databases or whatever to see if they can find any information about his family or this painting or whatever. And so at the very end, Sam is reunited with his sister, who they're both 90s and haven't seen each other in 60 years. So another minor plot development there. Again, Robert helps Miles. He's kind of in the neighborhood vigilante. That is really the conclusion of the Equalizer 2. So overall, I liked it a little less than the first one. Again, the overall fight scenes I thought were better in the first one. Still thoroughly enjoyed it. A lot of the viewers on Google didn't seem to, or at least IMDb or whatever. But major themes are similar movies. I do think there's an Equalizer 3, just from Googling it. It looks like there's one coming out September of this year. So it looks like we're going to get another one. And this was just kind of happenstance of me rewatching these ones. So I will certainly watch The Equalizer 3. Big fan of the Denzel. And again, nothing special in the script, but just vigilante, different scenarios of fixing this injustice, fixing that injustice. I don't know. I thought it moved well. It was an action movie for 2 hours, so I was entertained. So that is my thoughts on the Equalizer Part 2, and I will certainly be watching the third one. Up next on this, I don't know, I probably will watch the Everything Everywhere All at Once movie, because it's winning a bunch of awards. Not that I really care about the awards, because again, all those, it'd be cool to be a musician or something, just be invited to an award show and be able to celebrate art with other people, but that would never happen because I've never contributed anything to movie or to cinema or to music or to science or to society or to anything. But so I'll just keep doing my small YouTube channel and reviewing the movies that I like, or at least make me think or be interested or try to watch them. So thank you for watching my movie review of The Equalizer Part 2, and I'll see you on the next one.